Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. Today's video I'm showcasing some items that I bought recently from either Amazon or from Walmart. Some movies, some music. Yeah, I love showcasing that. Every once in a while I get a little crazy and just start buying stuff when, either when I'm online or I'm at the store. So yeah, showcasing that here. If you notice, I got a haircut today, so it might look slightly different. Slightly anyways. But yeah, so here's some. I actually showed some of these on my channel when I did my live stream about what I've been watching lately. I kind of showcased some of the stuff that I bought. I don't know how many people were watching that video, so I thought I might showcase them again on here since this video is just about media that I bought recently. So I bought 3 Blu-rays. First I got Zootopia here, one of my favorite Disney animation movies. I got this on Amazon. It says this is a Target exclusive, I guess, but there's the Blu-ray itself. Love this movie, one of my favorite. Soon I'm going to do a video countdown all the Disney animation movies. I've seen all of them. I think there's 62 in total. So I will do a video ranking all of the movies, and this is definitely very high up. Very funny movie, I think. A really good story as well, like I said. So be excited to showcase that. Another favorite animation movie of mine I got was Finding Nemo. One of my favorite Pixar movies, one of their early greats. Yeah, Pixar was killing it at this time period after Toy Stories and 1 and 2 and Bugs Life, and I think this came next maybe, or Monsters Incorporated. Those are all like in my favorite anime movies of all time. Yeah, this one I definitely wanted to get. I can't believe I hadn't gotten it yet on Blu-ray. So I was finally like, I really need to get this on Blu-ray. Yeah, again, love characters. The story's great. Especially love Dory. Dory's always been one of my favorite animated characters. Absolutely hilarious. Remember seeing this movie theater. Thought it was an amazing movie. So glad to get that on Blu-ray finally. And the last movie, I got The Princess Bride on Criterion Collection. I think I had this on DVD at one time, but I don't have any more. And I wanted to get the Blu-ray, and I thought, well, I saw that it was on Criterion Collection, and I do have some Criterion Collection. So anytime I get something that's a little more collectible, I guess, I'd love to get, even though it's a little more expensive, but I thought I'd rather have the Criterion. It's a little different from just getting a Blu-ray. I do love collecting different things, so I do have like steel books that I have, and I have the Criterions that I keep separate from the Blu-rays and DVDs that I got. So yeah, it's fun to get one of these. And Princess Bride, love this movie. Ever since I was a kid, I love this movie. It's a really fun, it's comedy, it's action, it's adventure. Yeah, romance. I mean, it has it all in here. Love this movie, Princess Bride. I did get one vinyl today at Walmart. I've been seeing this at Walmart every time I go look at the vinyl section. I keep thinking about buying it, and finally today I was like, I don't know, I felt like getting something. So I got Jagged Little Pill from Alanis Morissette here, from around 95, I think. Yeah, 1995. I mean, I remember this album very well. It was a huge album when I was a kid. In fact, it was the first album I heard from the 90s. Back in 95, I was still just listening to the Beatles and other 60s music mostly. I was mostly just into the 60s. I love that era of music because I fell in love with the Beatles at 10 years old. So at 95, I was around 12 or 13. And I remember my older sister, who was like in high school, came home with this Jagged Little Pill from Alanis Morissette CD. And my sister borrowed it from another friend. And so I was like, I'll check it out. I'd never heard of Alanis Morissette. Didn't know anything about this album, and put it in, and it kind of blew me away. It was different than what I was used to listening to 60s music, so it definitely listened to something from the 90s. It's definitely very, it's pop and some rock music, I guess. It's she does both pop and rock on here, and the rock music is very edgy to me. It was very edgy rock and roll music, kind of. More edgy than what I got from the Beatles or, anything else I was listening to. And so, I don't know, I really liked it. I remember just being like, wow. And I listened to it quite a bit. I remember listened it constantly because I was really into this album. So I've always had some nostalgia for it, actually. And I never thought I'd get on a vinyl, but when I saw a vinyl at Walmart, I was like, that's kind of cool to have in my collection. It was a huge album. No surprise, I loved it, and ended up being one of the probably the biggest bestseller of 1995. Won the Grammy Album of the Year. So, and I think You Ought to Know was like the biggest song of the year, probably in 1995. And I think it won a Grammy as well. I mean, this had some amazing songs from Alanis Morissette. Really blew her up. This Canadian kind of pop singer into something bigger. Like I said, definitely edgier than what she did before. But yeah, some great stuff here. You Ought to Know was the big song, like I said. And for me, it had the F word in it, which I never heard the Beatles say the F word. And I'm like listening going, holy cow, you can say F words in songs? I didn't know that was a thing. And I was like, oh, wow, that was edgy. It's a very edgy song, but man, vocally great. Perfect is a really great song. Hand in My Pocket was a hit song on the radio. It's an okay song. You Learn, pretty good song here. Head Over Feet, it's one of my favorite on here. It's an underrated song. Ironic, it's maybe my favorite song on here. It was another huge radio hit. Very fun song anyways, but yeah. Overall, I think I haven't heard it in a while, so I don't know if I like it as much now, but again, for nostalgia reasons, it's kind of an album I thought it'd be fun to have. I get from Walmart, so usually they have colored albums, so I always like that. This one's clear though. There's a clear album, but it's a little different than what you normally get. I think I have a clear album from Walmart for Crosby, from the Crosby, Stills and Nash album. I've got the This Far, which is a kind of the greatest hits of early Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Anyway, so still like to have that different kind of vinyl, but some CDs I bought recently that I showcased this, like I said, on my other video, but I'll showcase again. I got Buffalo Springfield's first album, Buffalo Springfield, aptly named. We're just kind of on my friend Nick's Townsend 505 channel. Me, Nick, and Briar from Briar Music Showcase. We all are. We just did the last album on his channel this morning or this afternoon, called Last Time Around. They only did 3 albums: Buffalo Springfield again, Last Time Around. So they didn't last very long, unfortunately. But man, just in those 3 albums, it's a great discography. They're a great band. I almost wish they would have went longer, because I think their music is absolutely amazing. It's folk rock. It's got some psychedelic rock on the second album, but this first album, mostly just folk rock album. And I love folk rock. It's one of my favorite genres. So I do love that 60s folk rock sound. Great harmonies in here, great melodies. I mean, you got Stephen Stills and Neil Young, 2 amazing guitar players and singer-songwriters on here. Also, Richie Furay is a great singer as well. And Dewey Martin, the drummer, and I'm forgetting the Bruce Palmer is the bassist, maybe, that plays on here. Anyways, but yeah, really great music. I mean, I remember first time hearing this, the only song I knew from Buffalo Springfield was For What It's Worth, was the huge song on this album, and the only real big hit from Buffalo Springfield. But it was one of the greatest songs of the 60s period. But this album is amazing. I give it a 10 out of 10. I give it a perfect score. It's one of my favorite albums. Like I said, love the folk rock sound, love the harmonies on here, and love Neil Young and Stephen Stills together. Sounds so great, and Furay as well. But so many great songs on here. Out of My Mind. If you don't know that Neil Young song, it is one of my favorite Neil Young songs. Out of My Mind is amazing. It's one that I listen to just about the most, besides For What It's Worth. It's my favorite song on here. But stuff like Fly on the Ground Is Wrong. It's a great Neil Young song as well. Do I Have to Come Around and Say It? Another great Neil Young song. Sit Down, I Think I Love You is great. Go and Say Goodbye. I mean, so many great stuff off this album. Definitely must listen, Buffalo Springfield. Another album I showcased on my other channel. It's a live concert album. I don't usually get live concert albums as much, but this guy's name is Jonathan Colton, and he did this concert called Best Concert Ever. It's a CD and DVD, which is kind of cool. So I get to watch it as well. Pretty cool packaging. I like the packaging. But Jonathan Colton, if you don't know him, he does humorous songs. He writes kind of this humorous songs from kind of nerd culture. So if you like nerd culture, like I said on my channel, if you like Big Bang Theory, like I do, you might like this type of songs. And I like this concert because it's just him and acoustic guitar basically, and he has two other singers that back him up a couple times on the album, on this concert album. But I like it because it's his best hits on here, and him singing it live, it sounds really great. I love his live versions of the songs. I actually like him better. That's why I got this album, because I like his live versions better than the studio album versions. Because in studio album he adds, of course, electric guitar and bass and drums, and it's produced, a certain way. And for some reason it loses its charm to me. Like, to me, I like the songs better when it's just him and acoustic guitar. I think the songs sound better. They have, like I said, a little more charm to them. And it's really great. Like I said, I don't usually like live versions of songs, but I think his live versions are really good. And you can hear the audience kind of laugh at some of his jokes that he does in the songs, and that kind of helps, I think, a little bit. It seems like a pretty good crowd that he's in front of, anyways. But I don't know. I can't talk too much about the songs but just I recommend this if you want to hear Jonathan Coulton. You can get this on Spotify or whatever. I would say check this out first before you check any studio albums out, because I think this is better than the studio albums. Studio albums have some of the hit songs on them and a lot of filler, I feel like, but these are really good. So Jonathan Coulton, best concert ever. And then I have to talk about these two together, because I already have their second album that I talked about on the channel, which is Strict Joy by Swell Season. That's one. And we did an album exchange. I did an album exchange with Adam from What the Gym, Briar from Briar Music Showcase, and Nick from Nick Townsend 505. And this was the album that I had on the album exchange. So we talked a lot about it on my channel when we did that. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. And that's their second album. So I thought it'd be a good idea to get their first album. They only have two albums. And this one's called The Swell Season by Glenn Hansard and Marketa Oglova. And there's Marketa. And a lot of songs are from this movie, which I got the soundtrack as well once. Music from the motion picture, and there the two are. I have the Blu-ray of this movie as well. Big fan of the movie, mostly because the music is amazing. I love the two voices together, Hansard and Oglova. They write most of the songs on the movie. And they have the big one is Falling Slowly, which won the Oscar for Best Song. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. It's an amazing song, but there's so many amazing songs on here. I really love the soundtrack. Probably my favorite soundtrack of all time, one I listen to the most. So really wanted to get that on an album. And yeah, so then I wanted to pick up the first one. So I got all three that they've done together, the two albums and then the movie soundtrack. And there's about half the songs on here are also on the movie soundtrack, because they did these two at the same time, basically, back in, I think, 2007, 2008. They did the motion picture, they acted in it, they're the two leads in the movie, and plus they wrote all the songs in the soundtrack, and then they came out with their own album. And then they did the second one, Strict Joy, in 2009. So, and they haven't done an album since, and it's been a while, but I'm hoping they come out with a third album, because they've been working together and doing concerts and stuff like that. So, and they put out a single. They do have a new single that came out this last year. So if they put out a third one, I'm like first in line to buy it. All right, I just bought some CDs today at Walmart. 5 CDs. I don't know why. I just started looking at this. Like I said, I bought the Jagged Little Pill of vinyl. And then I was just, I don't know, it was just one of those days where sometimes I don't look at the music section when I go to Walmart. I'm usually just grocery shopping. And then some days I'm like, I'm going to go over to the music section, which is very small. Their music section is very, very small. There's not a lot of choices there, but I like to go see what they got. And every once in a while I find some really cool stuff there. And so, like I said, I got the Lance Morissette vinyl. I thought, that'd be cool vinyl. And I was like, I'll peruse through the CD section. I usually don't buy CDs there, because they usually don't have anything that great there. But all the CDs, in fact, all the CDs I have are like greatest hits CDs. That's usually all they provide is greatest hits. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I want a greatest hits. I'm more interested in buying an actual album, studio album most of the time. But today I was just in the mood to buy some greatest hits. So these are all greatest hits or compilation albums. First one I'm going to showcase. This one I thought was really cool, and I was excited to get this because it's something different that I don't have in my collection. This is The number ones, Motown. So these are all number one hits from Motown, anyways. And I don't really have any Motown in my collection. I'm not a big Motown guy necessarily. So, and a lot of these artists are artists that I don't know, that I haven't really delved into that much, but I know the hit songs, and I do like a lot of songs on here. Um, and they're number one, so I'm like, that's kind of cool. I have all these big hits from Motown, so it's a very, I think, as far as I can see, it's a very good collection of Motown hits that I think I'll enjoy quite a bit. And I probably won't get a lot of these albums from these artists. I don't know much about Motown albums. If there's any like real great ones I need to get, I need to venture into that at some point. Or in the comments, of course, you can always, you know, recommend something to me. But it's got some good stuff. It's got Please Please Mr. Postman, My Guy, My Girl. Love those songs, great songs. Where Did Our Love Go and Stop the Name of Love, some Supreme songs there. I Can't Help Myself, Sugar by Honey Bunch, one of my favorite songs on here. I really love that song. I got one Stevie Wonder song on here, Upright, Everything's Alright, great Stevie Wonder song. Ain't Too Proud to Beg, another Temptations, and another Four Tops, Reach Out, I'll Be There, another big hit there. I got a lot of Marvin Gaye on here. Probably Marvin Gaye is on here more than anybody else, because we got Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, I Heard Through the Grapevine. We got What's Going On and Let's Get It On. I mean, two of his biggest hits probably ever. We get Jackson 5 with I Want You Back. That's the only Jackson 5 song. They could have put another one on there, but these are number one, so these are songs that hit number one. I got a couple of Smokey Robinsons, The Tears of a Clown, and Love Machine Part 1. Got the Commodores with Three Times the Lady, great song. Diana Ross and Lionel Richie, Endless Love, great song, great duet. The one weird one is we got Boyz II Men, I'll Make Love to You, which is a big song from the 90s period. So most of these are, of course, 60s songs, I believe. And then you get a 90s Boyz II Men, but the Boyz II Men, you know, has kind of that Motown sound, so it kind of makes sense. And evidently it was the number one hit for them. I remember that song was a huge hit on the radio, I'll Make Love to You anyway. So overall, I think it's pretty cool. It's 26 songs in total. Well, I think it's 25 songs, and there's one that's called Introduction. So a CD is kind of interesting. It's kind of this, I don't know, I want to call it bluish look. You can't really see it. It looks kind of blank, but if you angle it just right, you can see that it has the writings of all the songs on there. It's kind of interesting how they did that. One of my favorite artists of all time. I've got two of his albums. I need to get his third one. He only made basically three albums before he passed away. That's Jim Croce. It's called Photographs and Memories, the greatest hits. Again, I usually don't get greatest hits. I already got a lot of these songs on his albums, but I love Jim Croce. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. So I thought, man, this is going to be an awesome greatest hits. It's one of the best greatest hits albums probably I'll ever get, you know. It's got all my favorite stuff on it, of course. Time in the Bottle, Photographs and Memories, Operator, I Got a Name, I'll have to say I Love You in a Song, You Don't Mess Around with Jim, Bad, Leroy Brown, Lover's Cross, man, New York's Not My Home. Yeah, love these songs. I'm definitely gonna be happy to hear this one. Another artist I don't have a lot. I only have one album from, but he has a lot of great hits that I like. So Lionel Richie, The Definitive Collection. I got this because I was like, I really like Lionel Richie. He's one of my favorite singer-songwriters, really, from the 80s period. One of my favorite from the 80s for sure. There's him. That's from his Can't Slow Down album. I do have Can't Slow Down on vinyl. I said it's my favorite album from the 80s. I have to reevaluate if that's still true. But it definitely was at one time. And there he is there. But yeah, I got 20 songs. Some are from the Commodores as well. So you get some of the Commodores' big hits, which is really cool. Like Easy and Three Times a Lady. Let's see. Those are two I know. Those are Just to Be Close to You, some Commodore stuff, and then is, you know, huge hits on here. Hello, All Night Long. Got the Endless Love duet on here as well. Truly, Penny Lover, You Are, Stuck on You, Say You Say Me, Dancing on the Ceiling. Yeah, those are some of my favorite songs I know from Lionel Richie, so I was glad. And one of my favorite things about the album, looking at the track list, is the very first song is called Hello, and the very last song is called Goodbye. So love that. start the album with hello, end it with goodbye. I mean, perfect track listing in my opinion. So yeah, greatest hits of Lionel Richie. Then I know my friend Nick will be happy that I got this, I think, and that is ABBA Gold, ABBA's greatest hits. Again, I don't have any, I've only heard one ABBA album, Arrival, and I do plan on getting into them at some point and listen to, I know me and Nick, I think, are probably going to do a deep dive or go through their discography at some point. I know we've been planning on doing that, and maybe some other people will join this, but yeah, I don't know a lot about ABBA, except I know a lot of their great hits and all that. Obviously, they have a lot of big hits. Growing up, I never thought I would like ABBA because I always thought ABBA was like this disco, and I never was into disco. It's great, like disco group, you know, and I've heard their big hits growing up. Never was like a huge fan, but then I don't know, more recently I've been getting more into them and going, man, these are some fun, catchy songs. I know my friend Breyer, I think he just got one of their albums. He's got like all their albums as well, and he was showcasing one of the albums that he bought recently. And I think he said something like, "If you don't like ABBA, you don't have a heart." So it's like well, I want to have a heart, so I better like ABBA, you know. But yeah, this is a good greatest hits album. There's 19 songs here. You know, you got everything from Dancing Queen, Knowing Me, Knowing You, Take a Chance on Me, Mamma Mia. The Winner Takes It All is my favorite song. I love that song. Fernando, Waterloo. These are the songs I know. So I know at least half of the songs probably. Then the other half I'm not familiar with, so I'll get to know a little bit more of ABBA. Anyway, so this is a good introduction to ABBA for me before I delve more into their albums anyway. So ABBA Gold. My last album I got, another greatest hits album from a band I just a year or two ago. I got into this band. I got one of their albums, and that is Electric Light Orchestra, the very best of. It's called All Over the World, I guess is the name of the album, but 20 songs from the band. And if you don't know them, great band. Love the name, great name. Electric Light Orchestra, kind of like what it sounds. There's a lot of orchestra in the music. That's what makes it so unique. And I love orchestra. I love when bands put orchestra strings to the music, and so I do love a lot of what they do. I do have Out of the Blue. Out of the Blue is an album I've got. New World Records, my favorite album from them. I need to get that one because that's one of my favorite albums. And so I do recognize a lot of these songs from those two for sure. The big songs off those two albums are on here. You know, Mr. Blue Sky, and you got Evil Woman, which is a earlier big hit, I think. Don't Bring Me Down, huge song, it was on the radio a lot. Turn to Stone is my favorite song of Out of the Blue. That's my favorite song on that album. Great song. And my top, all these songs are like, I think they got all my top 10 songs just about in here, if I remember right. Living Thing, amazing song. Telephone Line's my favorite ELO song. Showdown's great. Rockaria, Strange Magic. Yeah, a lot of great stuff. I love the CD. It's one of my favorite CDs I've seen. That CD looks awesome. You got that ship thing, kind of this blue color. Yeah, really cool. Yeah, again, I don't know. I only have one album of theirs, and they have so many really cool songs that when I saw this at Walmart, I was like, I wouldn't mind listening to an album of just all their big hits. Usually I want to listen to studio albums, but every once in a while I do have some other greatest hits albums, and it's fun just to put a greatest hits album in there and just hear one amazing song after another. So some days I might feel like, I just want to hear the hits this time. And so ELO is one that I would love to listen to more of anyway. So that's all my albums and movies that I bought recently. Feel free to comment what are some of your favorites there and what you've got. I love to hear anything you have. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for liking it. And thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all and hope you have a good day.